Hi, today I'm talking about the weaver's knot. This is a really useful thing to be able to do. Sometimes in your lace you'll have a broken thread and it can be a really short end and sometimes quite difficult to be able to weave in a new thread unnoticed. So sometimes a knot just cannot be avoided. So this is a very useful one to be able to do. So I'm going to talk a little bit, I'm going to show you how to do it. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about the mechanics of it and how it works, so which just shows what a good and useful knot it is. As the name says, it's a weaver's knot, and it is one that's commonly used by weavers if they have a broken warp or weft thread in weaving. So I've got two thicknesses of thread here. Well, one is actually a cord, but I'm using a cord because it's going to be thick enough to really show you how the weaver's knot works. So I'm going to move those out of the way for the moment. So I've got two cords here. So this blue one is my short thread, this is my broken end, and then the white one will be the new thread that I'm going to be attaching to it. So I've chosen two colours so that you can really see what's happening. So to create a weaver's knot, normally I would wrap it around one finger twice, but because this is a very thick cord, I'm going to use two. So I'm going to wrap it around my fingers twice. And then to create my slip knot, I'm going to take the top thread over once, twice, and then the third time taking it off my fingers to create the slip knot like so. Now, as you know, a slip knot, if you pull the two ends, it undoes. So you wouldn't think it would be a very secure knot to use. But the secret of this is what happens when it's attached to another thread. So if I wind twice around my fingers, take the top thread over once, twice, third time to pull off to make the slip knot. It's a bit clumsy because it's so thick. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this slip knot and I'm going to pass my broken thread that I'm replacing through it. So now what happens when I pull my slip knot to undo it, it pulls the alternate thread, the other thread that's coming through the loop, it pulls it through the knot. So as my knot is undoing, you can see it's pulling the other thread through. So if I now pull tight on my new end and my old end, this tightens up this weaver's knot and gives you a really secure knot. A word of caution, if you then were to take the two ends of your original thread, you're going to do the same in reverse. So you're going to slip that back. It's a bit tight because this is a cord, but what effectively it does is it pops back through and it can untie the knot. It's more likely to happen on your thinner thread, but if I really tug that, give it a good old tug, there you go, I've released that. So let me show you on a finer thread. So I've got some Pearl A8 here, and here is my end of the thread, and it's a reasonably long end, so it's quite easy. And then I've got a white thread here which I'm going to use to make my weaver's knot. So take it around my finger once and twice, take the top thread over once, twice, and then the third time pull it off to make my slip knot. Then I'm going to attach this slip knot by looping it over the end of the thread that is broken. Then I'm going to pull the two ends of my weaver's knot and it will pop through. Now when you've got a fine thread, you will either feel the knot click through, or you can sometimes hear it click. So once that's clicked through, I'm then going to pull on my white thread, and there, I mean, I'm really tugging on that, and that's a good firm secure knot, and you can trim those ends quite close because that's not going to go anywhere. But if I pull on the two blue ends, the two ends that I've broken, then can see my weaver's knot is moving up and down. So that's just what you've got to be careful of. So if I pull the white threads, click my weaver's knot through, tug on the white only, then you've got a good, firm, secure knot. So I mentioned that sometimes you'll have a really short thread end. A very useful tool to hold on to this, to give you an extra hand if you like, is this. Now this is a pair of hackle pliers. They're generally used for fishing, for fly tying. So, and they are essentially they're a pair of tweezers that work in reverse. So if you squeeze them to open, it opens the jaws, and when you release it, they clamp tight shut. So you can use this to clamp onto your tiny little end, and you can get really tiny ends attached to this, so you've got something to hold on to. So you now haven't got to be trying to hold on to that tiny loose end of thread as well as working your weaver's knot. So I'll give you that demonstration of the weaver's knot one more time. So roll twice around my finger, take the top thread over once, twice, and the third time to pull it off to create the slip knot. Then I'm going to pass the slip knot up over my thread that's broken and pull two ends of the slip knot until it clicks through. So I can see on this thread, and if I just zoom in a little, hopefully you can see on this thread that the blue is showing through. Now if I tug on that blue, that releases the knot. Tug on the white, and you would have heard that click. So zoom out, and then if I pull on that white thread, then I've got a firm knot. I hope you found this useful. Thank you for watching.